There is a peculiar calm that comes after emotional chaos. Not the calm of peace, not the calm of resolution, but the calm of exhaustion. You sit in silence and notice something unfamiliar. There is nothing pulling at you, no urgency in your chest, no invisible cords tying you to everyone else's emotions, no constant scanning of the room for distress signals. Just stillness. And in that stillness, something unsettling appears. Clarity. But clarity can feel frightening when you've lived your life in emotional intensity. You begin to wonder, have I become cold? Have I lost my sensitivity? Has something essential burned away? If this question has ever echoed inside you, stay with me. Because what you're experiencing is not numbness. It is transformation. And if you're new here, welcome to the Mind Kit, a space for deep psychological healing and soulful self-understanding. For many empaths, sensitivity was never just a trait. It became an identity. You were the one who understood, the one who sensed what others couldn't, the one who could feel the unspoken pain behind a smile. People gravitated toward you because you made them feel seen, and that feeling of being needed, valued, essential, quietly fused with your sense of worth. Carl Jung described something called participation mystique, a state where the boundary between self and other becomes blurred. For the empath, this isn't philosophy, it's lived reality. You don't decide to absorb someone's anxiety. You don't choose to carry their grief. It happens automatically, like breathing. At first, this feels like a gift, but slowly, invisibly, it becomes a burden. Because the psyche has limits, and when you override those limits long enough, something begins to fracture. Jung spoke of complexes, clusters of emotional patterns and beliefs that operate semi-autonomously within us. For many empaths, there is a powerful caretaker complex. It whispers, you are valuable because you help. You are worthy because you absorb. If you set boundaries, you are selfish. If you detach, you are cruel. Every time you suppress your needs to soothe someone else, the complex grows stronger. You become skilled at emotional management. You become fluent in reading micro-expressions. You anticipate breakdowns before they happen. But here's the truth. You are performing survival, not compassion. And performance is exhausting. If this resonates, pause for a moment and tell us in the comments. There comes a moment when the system fails. Not gracefully, but catastrophically. You may have experienced burnout, sudden rage, emotional collapse, dissociation, an overwhelming desire to disappear. This feels like failure, but psychologically, it is breakthrough. Jung called this the beginning of individuation, the process by which a person becomes whole. The psyche can no longer tolerate unconscious self-sacrifice. The collapse is the self-demanding recognition. It is not weakness. It is a boundary emerging from the unconscious. After the storm, there is silence. And the silence feels dangerous. Someone shares their anxiety, and you understand it. But it doesn't travel through you anymore. You don't carry it home. You don't lose sleep over it. You are separate. And separation feels like betrayal when your identity was built on fusion. But this is not the death of empathy. This is its maturation. Jung contrasted unconscious merging with what he called objective understanding. True compassion does not require self-erasure. A therapist cannot help if they collapse into the client's pain. A parent cannot regulate a child if they are emotionally flooded themselves. Detachment, in this stage, is strength. If you are in this phase, comment below. Are you in overload, breaking, or silent clarity? Your story matters. This is where things become deeper, because once you detach, something rises. Anger, resentment, coldness. You might feel shock at the intensity of it, But Jung's concept of the shadow explains this perfectly. The shadow contains everything you disowned to maintain your identity. For the empath, that includes boundaries, selfish impulses, the desire to say no, righteous anger, the refusal to be used. You suppressed these to remain good. Now they return. Integration is not becoming cruel. It is acknowledging you are human. The moment you allow anger to exist consciously, it stops controlling you unconsciously. This is shadow work, and it is sacred. As you continue, something stabilizes. You begin to experience what can only be described as psychological sovereignty. You no longer depend on being needed. You no longer fear disappointing others. You no longer interpret boundaries as abandonment. Sovereignty is not arrogance. It is inner authority. It is knowing, my worth is inherent. Some people will resist this new version of you. They may accuse you of changing, of becoming distant, of losing your warmth. But you are not colder. You are clearer. If this insight feels grounding, take a moment to share this video with someone who needs permission to evolve. The winter before spring. This stage can feel flat, colorless, as though the world has dimmed. But think of winter. Above ground, everything appears lifeless. Beneath the soil, energy is consolidating. Roots are strengthening. Seeds are preparing. Your psyche is doing the same. The silence is incubation. You are not empty. You are reorganizing. Intuition. Reclaim. Something unexpected begins to happen. Your intuition sharpens. Before, you confused intuition with emotional absorption. But true intuition is pattern recognition emerging from the deeper psyche. It is quieter, more precise, less overwhelming. You begin noticing patterns. The types of people you were drawn to, the dynamics that repeated, the subtle ways you earned love. Not to shame yourself, but to gain choice. And choice is freed. As sovereignty stabilizes, relationships shift. Some fall away, others deepen. New ones emerge. And these connections feel different. Lighter, mutual, not dependent on your emotional labor. For the first time in a long time, you may feel genuine joy in connection. Not the relief of crisis management, but the pleasure of equality. This is compassion from wholeness. The emergence of the self. Jung distinguished between the ego and the self. The ego is your conscious identity. The self is the totality, conscious and unconscious, the organizing center of the psyche. When ego aligns with self, life stabilizes. You stop living reactively. You begin living intentionally. The silence you feared becomes sacred, because in it, you hear your own voice. Not obligation, not guilt, not fear, but authenticity. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming whole. The calm you feel is not emptiness. It is solidity. It is the quiet of someone who has stopped screaming internally. The detachment is not regression. It is maturation. You are learning to love without losing yourself. You are learning to care without collapsing. You are learning to exist without earning it. Trust the process. Trust your psyche. Trust that winter always prepares for spring. And if this message met you exactly where you are, subscribe to the Mind Kit. This is just one chapter of a much larger journey. You are not alone. You are evolving. And you are finally standing on solid ground.